Yo, it is your boy, the French Ted, and it has been a minute, hasn't it? Um, yeah, I'm back. Well, I say I'm back. I'm back for now. I think uploads are not going to be as consistent as they used to be, but they're here, so I think that's better than nothing. Um, we're back with LLW as promised. I want to take my little baby to global or as high as we can. Um, I don't know if anyone checked out the channel update, but the mic situation is still a bit odd. I'm having to hold it, and the pop shield has since disappeared. I don't know where it is. So this is raw mic. So I apologize if like the P's and the T's and the everything is a bit intense. I'll look at it in when I'm editing, and we'll go from there. But we're back. I'll work out all these other kinks as we continue on. We are here for episode number something. Honestly, don't know. Haven't even got the thumbnail ready for this one, but I just wanted to record. I've got a few shows written, so I figured why not? I've got a bit of time. But here we are. We are fresh off the back of Ashes to Ashes, which, quick reminder for everyone, was insane. One of our best shows, one of my favourite shows. We crowned our inaugural Heritage Champion, Bobby Guns. Charlie Evans finally became the queen of the Lariat League. Sera continues her unreal run. Ever since saying that she won't lose, she hasn't lost. Ashton Smith still hellbent on, getting revenge on Pac, which doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. Mokakakuta is our new prince of the Lariat League, Madman Madoka, and of course, who can forget, we have a brand new champion, a brand new king in Will Ospreay. Unfortunately, though, Osprey did get injured, but it's nothing too serious. He'll be out for a couple of weeks, and he can still appear in angles. So best believe you'll be seeing him very soon. But we are in the pre-show to begin with. Just one pre-show match for now. We've got the Prehistoric Death Cult. Let's be honest, Sid Parker's probably never going to see live television. He's going to be in the dark shows from now on. But we got an interesting tag team match here just to give Maloney and Doris a little bit of pop, a little bit of momentum, where they get the win over Caveman Ugg and Sid Parker with the World Star. So the 0121 get the win. Dan Maloney head and shoulders above everyone else, as you'd probably expect. Sid Parker being the weak link, as you'd probably expect. But unfortunately, Caveman Ugg sustained some cracked ribs in this 61 rated match, which sucks, but again, he's not really in the plans, so it doesn't matter too much. Following on from this, we go straight... Oh, thank you, Kojima, for the insight. I mean, we can already see it, but thank you. We're going to move straight into the main show, where, of course, we've got a new champion, so of course we're going to open the show with our new champion. Will Ospreay is here, decorated in his championship gold, and he is here with William Regal to not only usher in a new era, but to introduce a new 16-man tournament for an opportunity to face him at LLW Presents Riot 2026. And as the graphic appears, which again I haven't made, but I will show you, or I won't show you, I'll tell you who's in the tournament in a moment. Drew Galloway interrupts to see that he is the first name on the tournament list, which leads him to assume that his match is next. So he interrupts Osprey, interrupts Regal, says, cut the crap, let me have my first round match now and get it over and done with, because the quicker I beat these guys, the quicker I get my title back. Drew Galloway is not happy that he lost the belt to Will Ospreay and is defiant in getting that belt back. But before we move on to that first round match, which of course does include Drew Galloway, let me just quickly read off all the names that are in this tournament. It's annoying that there's not a button that you can just be like, boop, here's the tournament. I could just add it in post, but actually no, I'll add it now, but I'll also read it out. So we've got in the first round matches Drew Galloway versus Noam Dar. Chris Brooks taking on El Hijo del Fantasma. Those are the two matches that you will see in this episode. Next up, we have got Lycos Jr. taking on Mokakakuta, Ashton Smith taking on Mark Andrews, Dan Maloney, who we saw just win in the pre-show, take on Pac, Axeman Tisha taking on Callum Newman, former King of the Lariat League Tyler Bates taking on Cara Noir, and then finally Chaz Betts taking on our former Prince of the Lariat League, Ricky Knight Jr. So there you go. Those are all the entrants in this Kings tournament. So let's not waste any time and let's head straight for the first round match between Drew Galloway and Noam Dar. 81, I will take that. In a bout that had superb wrestling, which we all know is my favourite word, and a decent reaction from the crowd. It is, of course, Drew Galloway that gets the win in 21 minutes with the Claymore kick. Drew Galloway with an 86 and Noam Dar with a very impressive 75. Got the crowd nice and hot. Of course, it deserved better announcing. We've got Alex Kozlov on the announcing table. I think I'm just going to get rid of him. We need to find a better announcer because he's dragging us down. But yeah, Drew Galloway wins and advances in the tournament. As you can see here, it was part of the King's title tournament. Following on from this, Charlie Evans is here, our new queen. Bow down to Queen Evans as she is here to celebrate her win with the crowd. You know, she's got the streamers going. She's got a little party going because she wants everyone to know that she is the queen. She's in charge and she is loving every second of it. A nice 77 rated segment. Great job improvising interactions with the crowd when, unfortunately, or should we say fortunately, it is interrupted. Rina Yamashita comes down. She doesn't come down to, cause any trouble. In fact, she celebrates with Charlie Evans for a brief moment, but that celebration turns into a challenge. Rina still firmly believes that she is the true queen and the most dominant woman in LLW. So she says to Charlie Evans, I want my rematch and I want it at Riot. In which Charlie Evans, she's high as a kite right now. She's super happy. She's on cloud 9. So she says, you want that rematch? You've got it. So our first match has already been decided for Riot, which is like a month and a half away. It will be for the Women's Queen's title. Charlie Evans, our champion, taking on the challenger, Rina Yamashita. Now that was great the first time. I'm sure it will be even better the second time. Following on from this, we don't stay backstage, we go backstage, where Bobby Guns cuts a mean little promo claiming that he will be the greatest PWA Heritage Champion of all time and that he will make sure that this belt keeps not only the heritage of what went before him, but it will add to that prestige and become the most prestigious and sought after belt in all of LLW. So it seems like Bobby Guns has got his gold and he is adamant that he will not be letting go of that anytime soon. Remember, the PWA Heritage belt has a special stipulation in which each time the champion, so in this case Bobby Guns, defends the belt, they get to decide on the match stipulation ahead of the match starting. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So for example, someone challenges Bobby Guns. He goes, okay, cool, sounds good. This is going to be a submission match. And of course that plays to Bobby's strengths because he's got his submission moves. So that is how the belt works. Whoever the champion is decides the stipulation to each title defense. Great 91. Bobby Guns' charisma is through the roof and he has just been killing it left, right and centre. We now return to the ring with some women's action, and it is one of our more dominant women in the company, Megan Bain Megasus, taking on Martina. And in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, it is Megan Bain that of course comes out on top via pinfall against Martina. Megan with a 75. She'll be keen to get herself back in a title picture soon. And Martina with a 55. Of course, Martina definitely one of our, mid-card talents. Although looking at our women's division, it's strong, but there seems to be such a big gap between like the actual potential champions and challengers and then the rest of them. There's such a huge gulf between them. So I'm really keen to try and shorten that gap, if that makes sense. And obviously, I got a few people that I'm looking to maybe sign soon. So watch this space, guys. Watch this space. Following on from this, though, we have a recording from earlier. This was something that happened shortly after the tournament was announced. Colby Corino was seen backstage confronting William Regal, just wanting to know, why was I not included in this tournament? But someone like Ricky Knight Jr., who just lost their title, is. And William Regal says that the selection for this tournament was not an easy one. It's not something where we just pull it out of a hat. We look at many things, and one of those things includes respect for wrestlers, respect for LLW, respect for what we do at Lariat League Wrestling. And unfortunately, Colby, you in recent weeks and months have been lacking some of those things. So William Regal says, I need to see a change of character. I need to see something other than outside of what you're currently doing if you want to have any kind of opportunity in this business. So Colby kind of being knocked down a peg or two here. You know, he's been so hell-bent on, ruining Ricky Knight Jr.'s career that I think he's kind of negatively impacting his own career. So we'll have to see where that goes. Especially with Ricky Knight Jr. being in the tournament, you'd put your money on Colby getting involved. But could this be a lesson for Colby to maybe, just look at yourself before looking at other people? We'll have to wait and see. But just before we head to our main event match, which is the El Hijo del Fantasma and Chris Brooks tournament match, we do have some tag team action. And it is between Sunshine Machine and Destination Everywhere. And in a pretty decent match, Destination Everywhere get the win when Michael Oku makes TK Cooper tap with the half crab. Looking at performances, no one was crazy good here. Michael Oku and Connor Mills are definitely some people I want to try and build up a little. We tried the Sunshine Machine a while ago and it hasn't really worked, so we're just going to let them be kind of a jobber tag team, let's be honest. But a 64 isn't terrible. Let's hope the main event makes up for it, because, pushing for global and higher, because we are currently medium, we're going to need to get some big old main events under our belt. And that's what's up next. We've got Chris Brooks taking on El Hijo del Fantasma in our main event and the final first round match of this show. And of course, before I move on, the winner of this match will go on to face Drew Galloway at another show down the line. I don't know where I'm going with that. But yeah, let's just dive straight into the main event. 81. Oh, I will take that. Of course, the match deserved better announcing because Alex Kozlov is there and he's just not very good. I'm tempted to just jump into the database and just make his commentary better. You know what I mean? I might just do that. But in a bout that had superb wrestling and good heat, Chris Brooks gets the win with the Praying Mantis Bomb. But it does look like during this match we had Chaz Betts distract El Hijo del Fantasma. Of course, they were both members of the Anoa'i Global Alliance, and since then they have just fallen apart, and at any moment they get, they're at each other's throats. And Chaz has cost Del Fantasma at his opportunity of progressing in this tournament. So Chris Brooks, with a little bit of help from Chaz Betts, ends up progressing in the tournament and will face Drew Galloway in a couple weeks' time in the next round of the tournament. So let's finish the show here, both with 84s as well. That's really good. Let's finish the show and see how we did. An 82, increasing our popularity everywhere. You love to see it. And yeah, a pretty strong opening show, coming back. Of course, immediately after this, we're going to have our week 2 show, where I can confirm that the 2 matches happening on that show in the tournament are Ashton Smith taking on Mark Andrews and our new Prince of the Lariat League, Madman Mokakakuta, taking on Lycos Jr. I'm going to go ahead and get that booked, and I will see you guys in a sec. Okay, and we are here for part 2 of this episode, being the other show that we have, and the tournament continues. We've got 2 more tournament matches tonight, today, 2 afternoon. Why is 2 afternoon not a phrase? Anyways, we're in the pre-show, and I thought I'd give these guys a run out because Leon Slater is someone I'm super high on. Kofi Mensah is, of course, Kofi Kingston. I put them in a steal the show just to really tire them out, and it worked. So in a decent pre-show match, it was Leon Slater that got the win over Kofi Mensah. Leon Slater with a 65, Kofi Mensah with a 60. Of course, both negatively impacted by that steal the show, pushing them to the limit. I was advised by Natalia, aka Natty Neidhart, not to put either of them in a steal the show. But I said, no, I'm going to make them work their socks off because it's only the pre-show. Who cares? But yeah, 63 overall. It's fine. But let's just move on and get into what matters most, and that is the main show. And we open again with William Regal, and he announces that tonight's main event is Bobby Gunn's first title defense. And he will announce the stipulation of that title defense moments before the bell is rung. So that is a very exciting main event. He will be defending against A-Kid because why not? Haven't used him properly at all or in a while, so we'll give him a go and see what happens. But before that, Sera Knight has got something to say, and she is not happy. She believes that she was embarrassed at Ashes to Ashes and that her loss against May Sarah was a fluke. She says that little girl couldn't hold a candle to my in-ring abilities. And I want to prove to all of you doubters, based on my Ashes to Ashes performance, that I am still one of the most feared women in professional wrestling. So, I issue an open challenge. Any woman, any lady, in fact, anyone back there wants to have a match right now, bring it. And there's a few moments of silence, and then boom, the music hits. Rio has decided to accept Sera Knight Jr.'s challenge, and she does more than accept it, because in a decent match it is Rio who comes out on top by defeating Sera Knight in just under 20 minutes by pinfall. Again, Sera is devastated. She is shocked at losing this match, and I think she's more angry with herself now than she was before, because now she's thinking, where can I put the blame? Rio, of course, being a very cool, calm, quite fierce demeanour, just kind of takes the win, arm up from the referee, and then just bolts out back, hoping that win kind of pushes her up the ladder, you could say, a little bit more. And of course, Sera has gone down that ladder a little bit more. But speaking of ladders, which are kind of like tournament brackets, because you got to climb the bracket to get to the top of the ladder, which is the title opportunity. What a forced segue that was. We've got our next tournament match, and it is a former the only two-time king of the Lariat League and our longest serving champion of all time, Ashton Smith, who's had a bit of a downward spiral lately, taking on Mark Andrews for a spot in the next round of this tournament. Let's find out who progresses. And in a fairly good match, Ashton Smith gets the win. He defeats Mark Andrews with a dive catch GTS. I'm just going to say GTS, because a dive catch GTS, which I've seen in person from Ashton Smith, is not possible for him to win, because basically someone does a suicide dive, he catches them, and then performs a GTS outside. What, is he going to pick him up, drag him in and pin him? Maybe, but that's not realistic, let's be honest. Also, I've just noticed 7,000 people, not bad. But this is part of the King's title tournament, and Ashton Smith advances. Can he become a 3-time champion? But first, he'd need to book his place at Riot against Will Ospreay, so we will have to wait and see. There was a lack of psychology on display. Ashton Smith, of course, he fluctuates between really good performances and not so good. Mark Andrews, though, has been pretty consistent since joining us. A 75 is really good. 75 overall, I will take it. Following on from this, though, we've got a little vignette from Will Ospreay as he nears recovery from his minor injury. And he basically is talking about the tournament, going off script, and just kind of saying that he low-key wants Drew Galloway to win this tournament because he had so much fun the first time. He's sure that he'll have twice as much fun the second time. And this time, he hopefully won't get injured, which will make for an even better main event match. So, Ospreay's got his money on Drew. Who is your money on? Let me know in the comment section. But moving on to what I think could be a dark horse of this tournament, the madman Mokakakuta, who already is the prince of the Lariat League, the LLW prince, which means he can vacate that title at any moment to secure himself a king's title match. So if anything, he's got the best chance of being the next king than anyone else. But first he has to get past Lycos Jr., someone he has faced in the past. So let's see what happens there. And in a fairly decent match, a 76, with great wrestling and good heat, Mokakakuta, of course he does. He gets the win with his patented discus lariat in just over 20 minutes, taking out Lycos Jr. So, little behind the scenes here. This was actually meant to be Lycos, but I accidentally put Lycos Jr. in. So, it's Lycos Jr. now. But it was meant to be Lycos, who of course is better than Lycos Jr. I think we can all agree. So, annoying that, this could have been a much better match, but I will still take a 76. And that 86 from Mokakakuta. Oh, I am happy about that. And he progresses and will face, I believe he'll face Ashton Smith. Let me just check. Yes, he will face Ashton Smith in the next round of the tournament. So our next round so far has got Drew Galloway facing off against Chris Brooks and Mokakakuta taking on Ashton Smith. Now those are two tasty matches. We head backstage where Pac, being the bastard that he is, has decided to approach Ashton Smith, who is, taking a little breather after his tournament win. And Pac kind of, sarcastically congratulates Ashton Smith and says, congratulations, on advancing in the next round. Make the most of it. Enjoy your time in the tournament because this is going to be one of your last tournaments. And that's not because I'm going to do anything. That's just how this works. Ashton, you've been here since day one. You've got a legacy. You've got a history with this company. But the trouble is, Ashton, the company is growing. The company is improving. And unfortunately, Ashton, you're going to get left behind because you're not at my level. You're not at Will Ospreay's level. You're not at Drew Galloway's level. Heck, you're not at half the roster's level. So enjoy this time while it lasts. Because if I were you, I'd just give up. And of course, Ashton Smith, kind of nursing little tight shoulder after his match with Mark Andrews, wants to, get up and punch Pac in the face, but he thinks it's best just to keep his cool, focus on what's important, because all Pac is trying to do is get in his head, play those mind games like he has before, because clearly, there's a huge issue between these two. And Pac, of course, seems to not be as focused as Ashton Smith right now, but he feels like he doesn't have to because he says that he's levels above Ashton Smith. And of course, on paper, you would say that Ospreay, Galloway, Pac, etc. are levels above Ashton Smith. But Ashton Smith has proved time and time again that he can not only hang with them, but defeat them as well. So I would never write Ashton Smith off, but apparently Pac has. But this does take us to our main event. The ring is clear, and when I say clear, there's two men stood in it and a referee. It is Bobby Guns and A Kid. The referee holds the PWA Heritage title in the air, and Bobby Guns has been passed a microphone to announce what his stipulation will be. And he looks around the room. He checks to see how much time is left on the show. He talks to the referee, a little whisper in the ear. He goes, is this going to work? The referee goes, yeah, sure, if that's what you want to do. And Bobby Guns says, hey, kid, I will be looking to defend my PWA Heritage title for the first time against you in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Ring the bell. So here we have it, a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bobby Guns taking on A-Kid for the PWA Heritage Championship. And in a pretty great wrestling match with good heat, Bobby Guns, of course, gets the win in 25 minutes. A-Kid came close many times, but unfortunately it was 2 straight falls, with the final fall happening with a Boston Crab, the signature Boston Crab from Bobby Guns, making it a clean sweep and defense number 1 of his PWA Heritage title. An 87 from Bobby Guns and a 72, which is very good from A-Kid. And that is how we finish the show with Bobby Guns' first title defense. And in this one, he chose a 2 out of 3 falls match. And that is the end of this one, guys. So we end with a 78. So an 80 and a 78. Always improving the popularity in every region where we are broadcasted. And thanks to YouTube, we're broadcast pretty much everywhere. So, you know, a lot of people in the comments prior have been mentioning about TV deals, but there really just isn't anything out there bigger than YouTube. So money is going to grow slow. But the popularity, I think, is the most important thing, and that's growing really well with LLW. What we'll do in the next episode, which will be coming at some point, we will have the week 3 and week 4 shows, and then we will also, of course, at the end of each month, we review our finances and our popularity and anything else that we feel the need to look at. I'm also going to be looking at the free agents and things like that, just to see if there's anything or anyone out there that can take LLW to the next level a little bit quicker. But right now, I'm quite happy with our roster. I think we've got a really good upper mid-card main event scene. I think it's the mid-card and the lower mid-card that are a little bit lower than I'd hope. But we can fix that. I'm sure we can. Yeah. So that is our first episode back from the hiatus. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still holding this microphone in my hand. I'm getting a little bit of cramp, not going to lie. I hope the sound hasn't been too bad either. But yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I still don't have a new outro or a new intro, hence the yo at the beginning. So I'm just going to end it the same way that I ended the channel update, with a nice big fat kiss to all of you. Mwah!